Hacking is simple. It really is. Social engineering is even easier. You can go onto the dark web and you can get my home address, my mother's maiden name, my inside leg measurement, my postal code, and enough to pass any check that anyone is going to use out there. It is very, very trivial. There have been enough leaks out there that if you go onto the right sites and enter the various email addresses you use, you will be sitting on the dark web. I can guarantee it. So if you're using LinkedIn, that was leaked, and ad infinitum. So it's all out there. There's nothing much you can do it. Getting people to run malicious code is trivial, and ultimately the bottom one, why are they doing it? Generally, and we've seen this, these slides were written or being reused before all the ransomware that's going on. Ultimately, it's all about the money. The model is wrong. It's a 1960s computer mainframe model of identity, if you're old enough to remember computer mainframes. So basically, the system is pretty simple. In the days where you had this great big mainframe, and if you were lucky enough, they gave you an account on it to use it. And the whole premise was you had to identify yourself to the mainframe, because the mainframe is God, small g. Unless you're an IT person, in which case it's a big G. But that's the model. And what's happened over the years is we've just replicated that model. So as we put more computers in, you had more logons. So they said, we'll have one central computer that you log into, and that then passes it to all the other computers. And eventually we called that Active Directory, which is what I guess everyone who's running a Windows system, which is probably 99% of you here, uses within their organizations. So that's all Active Directory is. It's one computer sitting in the center of your organization, doling out truth about who you are. So you log into Active Directory, username and password, and it goes to, in my case in AstraZeneca, 139,000 other computer systems. You are Paul Simmonds. No concept of risk, no concept of anything other than a binary. The IT department says he's Paul Simmonds. And that's really, really scary. And it's forced what we call an identity to myself. I'll talk about that in a second. It results in a locus of control problem. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about locus of control. But locus of control basically is, as a control freak, the IT department says, if we put our arms around it, usually called Active Directory, and control it all, we can make it all work for you, Mr. Business. And that's fantastic until you want to expand outside of your business. Because then there's another set of control freaks over there who don't like what you're doing because they didn't do it. And then when you go global, then the problems expand. And the result is this. You end up with resulting in multiple disparate unconnected accounts. And ultimately it's too complex. So this comes from a thing called NSTIC. NSTIC was funded by the US federal government about 5 years ago to try and fix some of this problem. NSTIC stands for, if I get it right, the National Strategy for Trusted Identity in Cyberspace. Only the Americans could come up with an acronym like that. And this is what they were drawing up to make this thing work on an American, not even a global basis. This is just within America, where they get to set the laws and the standards. And yeah, I'm sure you'll agree, it doesn't stand a hope in hell of ever working. And actually they came to that conclusion themselves, and $20 million later have written it off. You need all of those services, from attribute providers to trust framework providers to dispute resolvers for my sins, I spent 3 days a few years back sitting in a room of American lawyers discussing the problems around trust and liability when you attest to someone's identity. So in other words, if you think about it, worst case scenario, I'm underage, but I've got a fake American driver's license, so I walk into my favourite gun store and I buy a gun and I go out and kill a number of people. So being this is America, I then, the parents of the people I've just killed decide that they're going to sue someone. But of course they're not going to sue me, I have no money. They're not going to sue the person who sold me the gun, because the gun lobby is too powerful. So who are they going to sue? They're going to sue whoever attested that I was 18. So Verizon or one of the third-party providers. And it's a real problem, the whole liability question and how we get around it. So that's sort of, he says, your background. So what are the issues? User correlation, risk and liability, chains of trust, third-party proofing. So how do we prove who you say you are? This is what you saw a little bit about this morning. The whole verification issue thing. How do you verify that they are who they say they are?